she took me out. She still took me out. I was screaming. She took me out of the house. My grandma was older at that time already anyway. She couldn't with Brenda. I couldn't neither. I was a child. And she took me to the car, to her Cougar, her beloved car. And she sat me in it. And when she went to get in, I thought there was weed in the car, but I was still like, I didn't know, but it wasn't weed, it was cigarette opened up inside of the car in the console or whatever. I thought it was weed, but it wasn't. When she went around to get in, I looked at her and I said, I hate you. And I opened the door and I started running. And I ran upstairs to the neighbor's house where there was this big, beautiful dog I always used to go play with. And he wouldn't let Brenda in. He wouldn't let her in over the gate, and the dog wouldn't let her over the gate. So we called the police. The police came, made her leave, and it was calm then when she left. When she came back, she came back.
Now, do you remember if that was an incident that happened before Nikolas was born or after Nikolas was born?
This happened... I can't remember.
It's okay if you don't remember. Did Brenda have people coming to the apartment when you were staying there? Other people besides your grandmother?
When I first got there, that's why I called for my grandma. Because I got there and there was like a bunch of bums, I guess. Not bums, but I don't want to say it like that. But, you know, there was a bunch of junkies. I don't know how else to put it. They were all getting high. They were paying to smoke and hang out, I guess, and shoot up. And Brenda was, you know, it was her place. So she was like the rent man, you know. You want to smoke and get high? Well, pay me. And you could sit here and smoke and get high. And I was involved. I would always go to the neighbor's house. And then eventually I started learning about Las Olas. And, you know, I spent a lot of times walking on those tracks back and forth. I spent a lot of time playing by the river right by here. And, you know, anything to get away when was like that, when it was like that.
Do you remember the day Nikolas was born?
Yes, I do.
Did you see him?
I held him. He was full of life. Very, moving around a lot. I was looking at him, holding him. He was looking back at me. It was just real squirmy. And I looked at my mom and I said, can we keep him?
What did she say?
At that moment, my grandma, I didn't know that Linda was the lady. I didn't really understand too much. I tried not to. But my grandmother was talking to Linda at that moment. And Brenda screamed at me and at my grandmother and said, get her out of here! Get her out of here! Because I asked if we could keep him.
Did she ever tell you why she wasn't going to keep him?
Well, she had an addiction. That's one of the reasons. She always put that first before me or him or Zach or anybody. What was the question again?
I just asked if she told you why she wasn't keeping him.
Yeah. It was, you know, for him to have a better life, for him to take a different path.
How was Brenda as a mother to you?
Brenda was a mother to me. That's what you said.
I asked how she was. How was she as a mother to you?
Yeah. Horrible.
Poor. How did having Brenda as a mother affect your life?
How did it affect my life? In many ways. In many ways. She just introduced me to a life that no child should ever be introduced to. And, you know, she has no regards, you know, for my life or his life, you know. So.
Ms. Woodard, have you ever been convicted of a felony?
Yes.
Sorry, Ms. Curtis, would you mind speaking up?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Have you ever been convicted of a felony?
Yes.
How many times?
16.
Have you ever been to prison?
Yes.
Did you go back to that apartment after Nikolas was born?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. And how long did you stay there?
I stayed there. It didn't last long. Didn't last long.
Why did you move out?
I started going to school, and I was trying to have a life, I guess, start a life in a way up here, but I don't know.
Were you forced to move out of the apartment?
Yeah, I came back from school one day, and there was an eviction notice on the door, and it said you have a certain amount of time to leave. Then I came back a week later, I think, whenever. The eviction notice stayed on the door for a while, for a minute. I came back one day from school, and all my belongings were on the front yard. I couldn't find my cat. And Brenda was waiting for me, like she always is when I get back from school. And she's like, come on, pick up all this stuff, put it in your grandma's car. At this time, my grandma had already left. The abuse had got really bad. She left me, but, you know. So then I picked up I helped Brenda pick up all my stuff from the front yard, the front lawn.
Where did you go?
We went to some crack house, I guess, and I would not get down. And that night we ended up sleeping in the car. And the next day we went to a friend's house of hers, and the lady she had a house. It was all right. She was like acting really crazy in the house, and Brenda was sitting. We had put all our stuff inside, some of our things, and Brenda was sitting at the table when we were finished unloading a few things. She sat at the table, and I sat across from her, and she smoked crack. She took out a pipe and she lit it. She was about to light it, and she was like, "You're not gonna turn your head?" And I said, "For what? You're still gonna smoke that shit." And she cocked back her hand and slapped me. I got up. I didn't cry. I went and sat on the porch, and I made up my mind that I was gonna run away. And the next day we went to a women's in distress shelter. She came up with some story about how her boyfriend beat her up, and she didn't have nowhere to go, so we stayed there. And that night, when she went to sleep, I packed my book bag, and the next morning I went to school, and I ran away.
Where did you go?
I went to this house that wasn't far from where we were living, by Las Olas. And these people, their name were Patty and Buster. And my friend, one of the girls who lived in the efficiency complex, she introduced me to them. They were cool people. And I stayed there. I went there.
Okay, how long after that was it before you saw Brenda again?
I saw Brenda a few days later. She came knocking. I don't know how she found out where I was. She came knocking on the door of that little green and white house. She's still there. And she was demanding for her daughter, demanding for me. And I was looking at her, but she didn't know that I saw her. And the people that had me, they were like, "No, her grandmother says she's gonna stay here for right now until they find out what they were gonna do with me."
Okay.